How about TalkList? I like TalkList.
So tell us what you like.
I think he's really onto something big. I think one of the problems that TalkList.
And by the way, one thing that's
Andres.
helpful to us is for you to actually say what you think they are, because sometimes we come into these rooms and people have pivoted the day before, and we're like hearing a whole new story. So tell us what you think they are and what you like.
I think TalkList sits in between English language learners and American foreign language learners, and accelerating that process and actually doing it more practically. People talk about success in learning foreign languages through immersion, and he's figured out how to use technology to do that. I like the fact also that it looks like a model we're familiar with already, Uber. It's very clever. I think he's also a fairly experienced entrepreneur. He's been down this path before, and it was also organically grown. And I think as the parent of kids who struggle learning Spanish, I could see an absolute application. I liked it very much.
I was extremely disturbed by the lack of evidence of traction. He's been at it for a year. He has raised $750,000, and he's conducted one experiment with Craigslist where he said that $500 yielded 1,500 tutor applicants. But then when he showed me the map, there were maybe 3 dozen tutors across the globe listed after a year. I think he needs to validate the market thesis. I also...
How can we help him to do that? Did he talk about it? Because
he needs to...
We've been hammering him.
He has a minimum viable product, certainly, already, and he keeps investing money in building stuff. He needs to stop doing that and start conducting market tests. He has no idea what to build because he has no traction. He is also somewhat in denial about the level of competition out there, and about the fact that a number of companies like Live Mocha that were trying to do something similar have died. I mean, he points to features that differentiate him, primarily I think just that he doesn't have any sort of certification or qualification process for tutors, although there is ratings, and that's not necessarily a positive.
Did he explain to you or anyone what some of the experiments are that he's running during this program?
He said he needed to talk to some growth hackers, but he didn't have a lot of coherent explanations for why he hadn't done more on that front.
I would say that my understanding is building a two-sided marketplace, right? For tutors and for people who are being taught. And I think that in any two-sided marketplace, there's a chicken and egg problem, right? How do you get enough traction and enough people? I think that even further intensifies when he's looking to real-time communication, right? It's not like an eBay that you post something and then people buy it later on. They have to be exactly at the same time. So getting to the volume of traffic to make that a sustainable model is very, very hard. I would say that my advice to him was to get some utility value that is not dependent on the marketplace. Let's say some of the lessons would be recorded, right? And he does that a little bit now, but I would expand on that and putting something that's not dependent on buyers and sellers being at the same time, but getting some utility value out of the platform, starting to interact with it, and through that, gaining more traction.
And did he talk with you about any of the experiments he's working on?
He talked with me about he's running a Facebook ad for a bit and then driving traffic, but then he said it's all happening in the same 2 or 3 hours that the Facebook ad is running, and then later on it just declines.
So I would tend to agree that he doesn't necessarily have product market fit. He might have an MVP, but he has a product market fit. So for those companies that don't, we actually have kind of a marketing specialist to try to come up with experiments to do during this time. So it's clearly he didn't bring this up with anyone, but he's got one group of students at NYU where again they are. I think they're all from China.
He showed me early a handwritten sign-up sheet.
Right.
Which seems sort of odd for a technology.
There are 2 experiments, and we want to basically see whether he can get anybody to pay anybody anything, in this, and again, using university connections, we actually now have the people. So I think that will be interesting to see what happens.
Observation. It seems like a lot of these entrepreneurs still have not read The Lean Startup. And there's a chapter in there in particular on the concierge model, where you test out a service manually before you build the software features. which can save you a lot of time and pain. The example there was a food delivery business with healthy ingredients for a particular recipe. The founders actually listed the ad and then provided the service manually by going to people's kitchens, going to the supermarket, in some cases with them, participant observation.
It's a good point. We'll make sure everyone has Lean Startup and has read it.
They feel they know the ideas, but not having read the book, they miss that particular thing for